Hey guys, it's your girl Kiki Soto here at Urban Girl Gardening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome back. Welcome to a very new and exciting episode. This is the first episode, guys, of my Grow It, Cook It, and Eat It series. If you're anything like me, you still have lots and lots of tomatoes, peppers, and maybe some other items that you've grown, squash, zucchini, eggplants from your summer garden that you just don't know what to do with it. You've canned, you've dehydrated, you've processed, you've done so much, and yet you still have more. Well, guys, I'm going to show you a quick, easy recipe for some of those ripe tomatoes that we don't want to go to waste. Before we get started, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all those things, guys. Give you a second. All right, let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm very excited to share with you guys a recipe that I found posted in another group. Well, actually, the recipe wasn't posted, but the idea was, and I had to find a way to make this. So I found a recipe online and I kind of tweaked a little bit to my liking, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I am. We are going to use up some of those already ripened tomatoes that we just don't know what to do with. We're going to make a savory tomato galette. Now, a galette is just an open face pie. It's just pie crust. It's not in the pie pan. It's French, and it's just with your filling, whatever you want inside of it. And we fold it closed, bake it, and there it is, just like that. Now, for this recipe, you're gonna need a nice chilled pie crust. I made mine. You can use a store-bought pie crust or your favorite pie crust recipe. We're going to need some goat cheese. I have some crushed red pepper goat cheese from a good farmer friend of mine. He is known as the Dancing Farmer because he's also a dance teacher. We're going to need just a little bit of garlic, our tomatoes, and for the tomatoes I'm using this beautiful yellow tomato that's absolutely delicious that was gifted to me from a friend, and neither of us can figure out the variety, but it's so good. And my midnight snack cherry tomatoes. You're also going to need some basil. I went ahead and plucked some green basil and some purple basil from my basil plants, some olive oil, and just some Parmesan cheese. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, guys, is, you're going to need some flour too because we have to roll this out. So the first thing we're going to do, guys, is we're going to sprinkle some flour on our surface. Well, you guys know holiday season is coming. We got to get these pie crust rolling skills going, right? We want it on our hands too. Got my rolling pin. We want to flour that up because we don't want our pie crust to stick, even though half the time it always does anyway. Okay, we're going to take our pie crust here, flatten it just a little bit, give it a head start, and we're just going to roll this out, guys. Now, one thing that you guys may not know about me, besides the fact that I love gardening, is the fact that my first love is baking and cooking. And this recipe encompasses both. So guys, you know when you roll your pie crust out, now look at all that butter. When you roll your pie crust out, you want to roll from the middle outward. You don't want to go back and forth because we do not want our pie crust to be chewy. We want it to be flaky. And I use butter in mine. Sometimes I use part butter, part shortening. Sometimes I even use cream cheese. Let's see how we did. Okay. I'm just going to use a knife here. Just kind of go under it a bit. There we go. Okay, so our pie crust looks just about ready. Let's move this baggie over. Take our knife. And guys, you can bake this in a pie dish if you want. I'm going to use just a baking sheet. I'm gonna brush a little oil on the bottom. Just a little bit. You can use parchment paper if you want. Whatever works for you. Spray butter. Okay, so next, I'm gonna add a little more flour to my rolling pin. And I am going to quickly pull this up and move it over to the pie pan. See how fast that was, guys? That's an old baker's trick there. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is, sorry about that, 5 kids. I keep telling y'all 5 kids. We're going to take our goat cheese and we're going to spread this across the bottom. Spread this around. You can use as much as you want. This is the base. And this is, like I said, crushed red pepper goat cheese. So it's going to be a little spicy, but I like spicy. And the majority of my household likes spicy food as well. I'm gonna get a little more here. Okay, and not all the way to the outside, guys. Remember I told you we're gonna fold it in just a little bit. Okay. The next thing we're gonna do, which is optional, it's up to you. You don't have to use Parmesan, but I'm going to because I like Parmesan. And it doesn't matter what kind you use. Sorry guys. You can use fresh grated Parmesan or just grab a bag of already shredded Parmesan. I'm just going to sprinkle this on the bottom here. Or you don't have to use Parmesan at all. It's up to you. I'm just going to sprinkle this on the bottom. And now guys, when you prep your tomatoes, because that's what's going on next, the same way you would salt your eggplant if you were making eggplant parm, or your zucchini if you were going to bake it, you salt the tomatoes because we want all the water to run out. You see, we want the juices to run out because we don't want a soggy crust at all. So I'm just going to arrange my tomatoes. And I'm no artist, guys, so if it ain't pretty, sorry, but it will be tasty. And I bet you if my son or my daughter was here, they'd make it look beautiful. They're the artists of the family. Then I'm going to sprinkle the cherry tomatoes. And guys, I used about 2 cups of tomatoes. As we know, tomatoes shrink when you cook them and they bake down. There we go. And then guys, I'm just going to get a paper towel here. Ooh. Just one, Lord, just one. I'm just going to wipe my hands. And we're going to move this out of the way. We're done with the cheese. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our basil, which has a little bit of dough in it. We don't need that. Wipe off our knife. And we're just going to rough chop the basil. It's a nice little rough chop. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can make it as big or as small as you want it to be. Oh my God, basil smells so good. So good. You want to end up with like a tablespoon. And if you want to save more or chop up more for garnish at the end, that's fine. And I'm going to take my basil and I'm going to mix it in here with the garlic. I'm going to take some of my extra virgin olive oil, EVOO. Mine says organic, it doesn't have to be. About a tablespoon. I'm going to take my mixing brush here, mix this all in. Go. And we're just going to coat this mixture all over the top, guys. Now if you wanted to infuse this oil, the olive oil, which olive oil is great for, olive oil, grapeseed oil, those oils take on the flavor of garlic and herbs very well. You can absolutely do that. You can let it sit for a few minutes while you do everything else. Mix everything up in advance, but I just wanted to show you guys what this would all look like as it came together. Now you can add salt and pepper if you want to. I'm not going to because I added salt to the tomatoes, and the cheese has salt, and also feta cheese or goat cheese, if you've ever used it, is quite salty as well. So the next part, what we do is fold it in, guys. That's all. We want to fold it in, and we want to make sure that we leave enough edge room to get it enclosed and that we don't have any holes. And guys, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Okay, I'm going to pop this in the oven at 400 for 20 minutes, 20 to 25, and then we'll be right back with the results. All right, guys, here we have it. This is our savory tomato galette. Isn't it beautiful, guys? It was quick, simple, easy, and it smells delicious. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy this recipe. I know I'm going to. If there are any other vegetables that you have around that you really need to know what to do with, let me know. Drop down a comment and we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out, find some recipes, and we'll make it together. Continue to learn with me, continue to grow with me, and thanks for coming back to Urban Girl Gardening. Bye.